On the Fringe with Dan radio style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Rand Paul is gonna go this lone fight right now, and so's Elon Musk. Apparently, both these guys are a little miffed, not necessarily at Trump per se, but at this big, beautiful bill. And again, Trump said he doesn't necessarily like it, but I don't know. How much do we have to push across the line? How much do we try to fight this and struggle because we've got zero Democrat support? How much of this is grandstanding? I don't know. We're going to see. It'll be interesting to see how this all plays out, who survives politically. We've got Lindsey Graham back on the news in bad ways as well. And some interesting Russian stuff. Again, a lot going on right now. Very weird times. I call this section The Great Leap only in that I think to a large extent one of the largest problems we have with any of the senators right now that are fighting this. Again, right or wrong, I don't know. I'm not going to be the guy that's going to fall on the sword. That's for damn sure. But what we do know and understand and have been explained to us recently is tariffs have a very interesting effect on the economy. Bringing investment back into the country has a big effect on the economy. Creating jobs has a huge effect on the economy. They say for something like for every for every 100 million jobs? No, what is it? That's not right though. It's like a million jobs for I don't remember the statistic, but it's like like $1 trillion in taxes comes from a like modest 1% rise in employment or some strange thing. I think there's a bit of obviously there's taxation and stuff that comes with it, but there's probably a bit of a multiplier effect that kicks in some way, shape, or form. The businesses that they're working at are paying taxes, employment taxes as well. So there's tax money being spent all over the place. So there's a big lack of understanding about how this new economy is going to work. This is not the old rule, not the old economy, not the old dollar, I hope. We'll see. And so I think the congressional budget, the office or whatever, the ones, the CBO that are the ones that are supposed to look at the bill and say, yeah, this makes sense. This is going to, cause taxation to go up by X amount of dollars, and it's cause employment to only go up X amount of dollars. They act like they actually know what they talk about, and in all cases, really, they don't. They're almost always wrong. That's one of the arguments that's going to get brought up here as well. So to give a little credit, the people in Congress really don't have anybody that they can look to give them good numbers. Trump isn't necessarily the one that put this together, though he's had a lot to do with it. And he's even supposedly met with, not supposedly, him and Hawley definitely met. So we don't know, again, how this is going to play out. There's a lot of backroom dealing going around, and the way they want to make certain things their battleground, okay, maybe. Rand Paul says Democrats are adrift, but Republicans face risk if conservatives veer from principle. That's, again, is what I'm calling sort of the great leap. There's a little bit of, you almost have to have some trust in that whatever we're doing right now has to be significantly better than what's been done in the past. We definitely see somebody that's making America first and doing policies that would suggest that. Those things should work. I know the experts, the ones that hate Trump, say the opposite, but so far they've been wrong. Prices haven't gone up as much as they said. Inflation hasn't gone up at all. In fact, it's gone down. So all of the things they've been screaming about haven't happened. None of them. None of them have happened. Yet they continue to make the noise. Donald Trump truthed out Rand Paul has very little understanding of the BBB, the Big Beautiful Bill, especially the tremendous growth that is coming. He loves voting no on everything. He thinks it's good politics, but it's not. The BBB is a big winner. He also said Rand votes no on everything, but never has any practical or constructive ideas. His ideas are actually crazy, losers. The people of Kentucky can't stand him. This is a big growth bill. Now, this truth implies to me that Rand Paul is straying off the reservation. That Rand Paul maybe is doing something right now that might cost Rand Paul his seat. Rand Paul's still a pretty young guy. It'd be a shame to have to lose him from Congress, but, if these things are necessary, I'll be on board. Rand Paul's been a little strange lately. Many of the senators have, frankly. Apparently, Howley says he had a great talk with Trump on Medicaid. This is going to be the other big side of the equation. Now, from what we keep getting told by numerous people that we're supposed to be able to trust, Johnson being one of them, Trump being one of them, that this actually is taking away money from people, one, that are illegal. A whole bunch of people are receiving benefits that are illegal. Now, if that adversely affects any states out there, oh well, seriously, suck it up, figure out a way, make it happen, do what you got to do, but you're not getting bullshit money. I don't care what it does. I don't care if it decimates 50% of the hospitals in your state, then you've got a very effed up state and you need to fix that. This is not the fault of the fact that we're no longer giving Medicaid to illegals. This would be the fault of how you're managing your states. So again, a lot of this information has to come out. These people have to cry. Thank God they're not Argentina, because that's not allowed. So Josh Hawley's going to be one of the people I think that's going to be, I don't know, maybe a little more like, I've talked to Trump, here's what I understand. And that's hopefully what's going to happen here. Senator John Thune is, I think, doing a reasonable job trying to put some of this stuff together and make it make more sense. We'll see. This actually is probably a good time to play because I'll forget otherwise. I actually recorded. I think it was the chick from Collins, and man, she sounded horrible. And initially, I recorded just her sounding horrible, and then there was like a beautiful answer that Ms. I guess I don't know what it is when the husband passes away. Ms. McMahon. I always want to do that. Ms. McMahon. Her answer was brilliant when it came to this particular program that Collins was interested in. I kind of started recording it almost at the perfect place. I didn't edit this. I wish I would have, but at this point, I just didn't. Not enough time in the day. But I think this will play good enough, and I can fix it if I have to post-production if it's too far off. But all said, I think this is pretty interesting. One, and this is another example of how we need to save money, of how money from Republicans specifically, but Collins is someone we need to get rid of. Initially, that was my point of wanting to show this was, look at how retarded this chick is. And I feel bad. I mean, she's getting old, I'm not trying to be a dick. It's just like, I don't know if we need to have a bunch of people that are incapable in office, and she seems to be dancing on incapable's doorstep. Maybe it brings back good memories. Who knows? But here's the snippet. I don't know, it's a few minutes.
I'd like to turn to the TRIO programs, like Upward Bound. That's an issue that you and I have discussed. From my experience in Maine, I have seen the lives of countless first-generation and low-income students, not only in Maine, but across the country, who often face barriers to accessing a college education changed by the TRIO program. I'm actually wearing my Maine TRIO pin today, just to emphasize my support for that program. In fact, 3 of my own staff members went through the TRIO program and tell me that they would not have pursued higher education but for the support and confidence that the TRIO program gave them. The president's budget, unfortunately, in my view, proposes to eliminate the TRIO programs. And as co-chair of the Congressional TRIO Caucus, I strongly disagree with the president's proposal. Could you explain why the administration has decided that TRIO programs are not worth the investment that they make in people's lives and the robust bipartisan support that they enjoy due to their success?
Want me to answer now?
Please. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I know that these programs are very near and dear to your heart. We have had at least 2 pretty lengthy conversations about them. And TRIO will be funded through the end of this year. So all those funds will go out. But it is not proposed to continue in the 2026 budget. What we found is the programs, while I absolutely agree that there is some effectiveness of the programs in many circumstances, these programs were negotiated at very tough terms, in that the Department of Education has no ability to go in and look at the accountability of TRIO programs. It specifically eliminates our ability to do that. And I just think that we aren't able to see the effectiveness across the board that we would normally look to see with our federal spending. So while there are, I think, many instances, and I believe also that Chairman Capito even worked in TRIO for a while in her earlier years, I do think there is effectiveness of many programs that I'm just not sure the total expenditure warrants. I do know, however, that Congress does control the purse strings. And I would sincerely hope that if you decide with appropriations to continue these programs, that we could work with you to renegotiate those terms that we feel kind of hamstrung the Department of Education and not being able to fully understand their accountability. That's a real drawback in these programs, and I think all of us would agree we want to make sure that anything that we are funding, we can attach accountabilities to it.
Well, as with the Job Corps program and the
You have to appreciate the fact that she's trying to actually get that back, getting control back, or not even control, but accountability. Really, I mean, we want to be able to see if this is working or not. Right? Are our test scores going up? Is something positive happening? Lindsey Graham says something really weird, or posts something strange. Greta Thunberg on her stupid yacht heading out someplace to do, I don't know. Now she's instead of being on the green deal, she's all about free Palestine thing or whatever. Some chick's just running around doing whatever. But Lindsey Graham says, hope Greta and her friends can swim. Huh? I mean, I don't like Greta per se. I certainly wouldn't wish any harm on the young girl. I mean, crap. They say she's autistic. So is Elon Musk, by the way. So that autism doesn't mean shit. Usually, in a lot of cases, actually, it means they're gifted. Actually, super gifted. Some of the autism spectrum children are ginormously intelligent. It's very strange. It's, a lot of people are also wondering if this is some of the starseeds coming in, or the what do they used to call them, the purple ray, I forget, there's some fancy, not fancy, but spiritual name they had for the violet ray children that would be coming in, just fully awakened. And many think that's a lot of what some of this autism is too, by the way. Whether or not that was inspired by vaccines, I don't know. But there's a lot of things that are not necessarily always as black and white as we want to make them. I've had discussions with even crazy people, homeless people, that have surprised me. I've had discussions with children that have actually surprised me, like just asking brilliant questions. It's just like, wow, that was very astute of you to just notice that from your environment. And to me, that's super valuable. And so again, some of us have judgments on people based off of X, Y, or Z. And because of those judgments, we fail to see the gift in every moment, right? Happens. It happens sometimes. So, all said, it's kind of funny. As my boy Alpha's showing up over here on the side. Got 2.5 people going, Alpha. You go, boy. Woot, woot, woot. Right? Good stuff. Rocking and rolling. I couldn't pull 2.5, I don't think. I barely even have 2.5 people subscribed to me on X. So good on him. That's good stuff. BBC corrects fake news about Gaza aid site, and then he publishes another. This is a story that's going around by, well, a few news sources, and they've been wrong. They've been talking about how people were killed on the I think it was the American aid site. The UN site had all sorts of problems, but they were trying to pass these fake stories that the American site had killings. There was killings. This is crap. BBC was published criticism for it. A bunch of people have come out. Breitbart News reported on Sunday Hamas claimed this. And, of course, all these people ran with the stories, alleged sources say, and they just look like idiots. So, once again, good job, CNN. You're continuing to make this easier for many of us. CNN's still continuing to report this, by the way. They have not changed their headline. Whatever. McCabe, he objects to the rush to call anti-Jew Boulder attack a terror attack. Even though the dude specifically was anti-Semitic, completely in his postings, in his ramblings during the time where he was attacking people, and it was a flamethrower, so I was kind of right about that. I wasn't sure. It was just weird. Whatever he's holding, I'm like, that's not like a Molotov cocktail. They keep calling it a Molotov cocktail. That's not. That's a flamethrower. Is what that is. That's a whole different kind of ball game. I get why people were like, hey, and you could kind of maybe dodge, maybe if you're like wiry, but man, it's fire and you get it on you. Yeah, that sucks. That's a bad day, man, especially if it like soaks your clothes or something crazy. Looked like it was alcohol. Depends. Hopefully it was, if it was rubbing alcohol, it kind of burns at a low temperature. But if it was, like 200 proof alcohol or something, that might actually burn at a really hot temperature. So not sure what exactly was inside those things. Ethanol, even it could have been. But be aware of fully investigating. Target of terror, the Boulder, Colorado. This dude was rambling on. So I'm just going to say, my point was, I guess, is that McCabe is obviously of the deep state ilk. He's of that whole like Obama, Biden genre of people. And we know he's a pile of trash. He was totally involved in the Russia and all that stuff. So yeah, I think there's some people that have said, right? Wasn't it of the guys like McCabe was one of the sort of decent ones? Or I don't know. But I don't know if I buy that. I don't know. I feel like there was one of them. They were. If it pleases anybody, this dude actually burned himself. He burned his nose pretty badly, I guess, and his ear. That's actually had to put a bandage on his ear. So this schmo who was here illegally, let's remind everybody of that. They all said he came in during Biden administration. I had saw some information that might have suggested it went back prior to that, but whatever the case is, he came here with a legal visa and overstayed it, is what it seems anyway. And supposedly has been planning some sort of attack for a while. There's all sorts of information to suggest that. So whatever the case is, this dude was not properly vetted for sure. And I bet if they looked at social media posts, they might have found like we're looking now. They would have looked to see, is there any rants about hating Israelis or hating anybody for that matter? Hate gay people. Like, well, we got a lot of gay people here. Maybe you shouldn't come to this country, right? Right? That's just how it is. They don't need you running around killing gay people because you friggin' don't like them because your country's all against that. That's fine. Be against it. You have the freedom to feel that way, but we don't think you're necessarily a good fit for America. These kinds of things need to be vetted, right? We're a land full of many. Yesterday's horrific attack in Boulder, Colorado will not be tolerated in the United States of America. President Trump is telling us in a truth. He continues. He came in through Biden's ridiculous open border policy, which has hurt our country so badly. He must go out under Trump policy. Acts of terrorism will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. This is yet another example of why we must keep our border secure and deport illegal anti-American radicals from our homeland. My heart goes out to the victims of this terrible tragedy and the great people of Boulder, Colorado. Of course, some of the places that we're seeing this stuff is not a huge surprise, right? FBI posted this. Help the FBI protect children. As the Attorney General has made clear, we will protect our children and hold accountable those who mutilate them under the guise of gender-affirming care. Report tips of any hospitals, clinics, or practitioners are performing these surgical procedures on children at 1-800-CALL-FBI or tips.fbi.gov. Now, initially, recently, we had heard of a third-party app that was trying to collect information on child trafficking. They said, report your information to the third-party app, and then we'll let the government know. No, go to tips.fbi.gov. If you have a tip, if you have a thought, put it in there. I'm not 100% sure, but here's what I saw. Put it in there. Okay? Don't go to some stupid third party who's probably the cartel or the deep state or both are behind just trying to get information. What do people know? What are they noticing? That's all that would be for, the third-party app. I talked about it the other day. That's why I'm making a big damn deal about it. Sorry. FBI. Go to tips.fbi.gov. Tips.fbi.gov is definitely the one place where the tip is okay. Tips.fbi.gov. Hopefully we can put a stop to that. So really, it's going to come down to all you guys. This was acting director, ICE director, Todd Lyons, talking about what's going on. We got stuff going on in San Diego and all this weird stuff with them people trying to stop ICE. This is going to be part of the fun of the summer. Maybe this is what causes the riots too, by the way. Maybe it won't be a racial thing because I don't think they've been able to shift up the energy enough, at least currently. Like I said, it can always just take a cop walking up and shooting someone in a car. It doesn't. I mean, it's they get the MK. If they got any MK Ultra people running around that are cops, or at least willing to put on a cop uniform and do something horrendous, that's always possible, right? So I'm not going to remove that possibility, but they might have to go a different direction in general. We'll see. But I think he's sort of talking about this ICE stuff and mass deportations that need to happen. There's certainly at least 4. We got Venezuelans, Cubans, Haitians, and whatever the other one was. Their judge already said you can do this. Supreme Court's already responded. Yeah, he can do this. That's done. So that's a whole entire segment that is immediately going to start getting processed. And they're going to start raiding places where these people exist. And a lot of them are going to be in blue cities, by the way. So all said, here is one. I mean, they're allowed to wear masks. We're supporting the fact that these officers are now wearing masks because they're being doxxed. I think he talks about that here. I'm not trying to spoiler everything, but this ties into the few of the videos that I'm going to be playing here in a couple moments. And so that whole process, protecting these officers and their families while they're doing their jobs protecting Americans, getting illegals out of here, while we've got Democrats trying to dox them. This is a crazy, crazy moment. And the Democrats, of course, are on the wrong side of this. And again, I listened to a show recently. I don't want to get into who they are. There's 4 of them. God bless you guys. You guys did a great job. I've watched a few of your shows. They'll climb higher than anybody and everybody. But it just really did help me understand that there is, like, it helped me feel better about Laura Loomer, for example, just to fall on the sword here for a second. But there's a group for everybody. There's different people for everybody. We all have our own kind of take on things. And because of that, we are the backstop for the group of people that we're the backstop for. And the people that are a backstop for other people, well, that's good. At least there's a backstop for them, right? Like, they may believe stuff that to me is way the hell off the cuff. It's like, oh my God, you guys are not even near the truth. But it works for them right now. You know what I mean? Like, it keeps them kind of safe and okay. It's like, oh yeah. So I don't want to give examples because it might piss people off. But it's just, so I've learned to appreciate the other side a lot more, or to see the creator more. It's part of some of the Law of One stuff I've been doing. Like, it's a growth factor. This is a big part of why I wanted to learn the Law of One, because for me, it was, whenever I talk about something publicly, it was like this on my manifesting channel. It's just something that's kind of like happened with me, and I've learned this is how the game plays. Learn from it, don't learn from it, doesn't matter. But whatever I would talk about would become real. And so if I talked about things that were bad, it would create sort of weird experiences in my life. And so I had to be kind of cautious how I used examples. So again, a lot of learning in the big picture. And I think anyone that's really serious about this kind of stuff is kind of learning as we go as well. So again, my apologies for the mistakes I've made. I'm sure I'll continue to make more, but I do certainly try to learn the best I can. That was a fun tirade for no reason. But here is what I told you I'd play, like, I don't know, 5 hours ago.
If sanctuary cities would change their policies and turn these violent criminal aliens over to us, into our custody, instead of releasing them into the public, we would not have to go out to the communities and do this. Boston's my hometown, and it really shocks me that officials all over Massachusetts would rather release sex offenders, fentanyl dealers, drug dealers, human traffickers, and child rapists back into the neighborhoods. 2 weeks ago in Los Angeles, where we ran an operation where ICE officers were doxxed. So let's just say that again. People are out there taking photos of the names, their faces, and posting them online with death threats to their family and themselves. So I'm sorry if people are offended by them wearing masks, but I'm not going to let my officers and agents go out there and put their lives on the line and their family on the line because people don't like what immigration enforcement is.
I mean, again, you got to show me a badge if you're doing anything crazy. But yeah, we're in a weird place right now. And again, many times they told us it would take craziness to get us to accept what's going on. This is just ridiculous. This is happening in San Diego, and this is a bunch of the ICE agents that are being shunned down the street away from whatever they were there to do by a bunch of white people for sure. Obviously Karen type individuals, though there's a male Karen in here too. But this is just ridiculous. This is weird. And then this stupid gay chant. It to me sounds like what like zombies do. Like like it just sounds, or like I don't know, some church masses I've been to, frankly, where just everybody sounds like a bunch of drones. You know, it's just weird. I don't know. You tell me. It's just so strange how people are. It weirds me out.
Fucking shame! 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 Back up! Yeah, back up! Back up! Shame! Shame! Fuck up! Back up! You guys are fucking cowards! Fucking cowards! Cowards!
One of the guys literally spit on the car. Like, what? I mean, what a bunch of doucheholes. Again, there's somebody out there that's playing something that these people watch, right? And that's part of the whole psyop, right? If they're still watching whatever replaced Rachel Maddow, for example, they're running out of people. I mean, there's not a mob. It's not that bad. San Diego, so disappointed in you. I actually love San Diego. It's a really, really awesome city. It's a really, really awesome city. In fact, with obviously some stupid people. They moved in recently. I didn't know. I wasn't informed. Folks. Go to danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. That's danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. Just incredible products. I love these products. Stem Active helps increase stem cells. Stem cells are like healing, and it helps push it up 25 to 40% higher numbers than normals. Something that happens as we age, those numbers naturally decrease. There are no stem cells in the product. You're not being injected with stem cells. That's usually from fetal cells, by the way. It's kind of gross. This actually enhances your own body's ability to do that. And that's really what I love about Healthy Home, is it uses plant-based products to actually help our own bodies deal with our own bodies. Who thunk it? I know, crazy, right? Like, really? You'd have your own body do it? Well, why don't I give you a foreign substance instead? No. How about I use some of like the plant medicines that we know are actually way beneficial? In fact, balance, ladies, going through that change. I'm not talking about it like I know about it. I don't know. I haven't seen you acting all weird. That wasn't me. But some of you guys might be going through some of the hot flashes at nights. They can be ridiculous. I do have one friend that's kind of filled me in on her general, experience and how much her husband's life had been affected by it. He's a very loving man that just kind of takes what he gets. But there's 14 plant-based products. There's no hormones being shoved into you. This, again, is helping your body learn how to deal with this part of your life. It's just transition. We're all going through a change, a transition. We're doing it actually spiritually right now, too, so no big surprise. But balance helps tremendously. They're talking about sleeping better, feeling better, just gobs of things happening, relationships improving. Sometimes being a little less, can help keep relationships happier too, even with children, right? It's a transdermal lotion too. You just put a little bit on your wrist and then you rub your wrists together and you're like, and then boom, just like that. You don't have to do the part, but you can. I find it makes it more fun. I don't actually use it, but if I did, I would all day. But it's like a few minutes and whatever. Amaze is incredible. The collagen peptides. One girlfriend's double dosing on this. She is like, I don't want to say she's addicted. These things are awesome. They're delicious. They work extraordinarily well. I need to take mine for today, so that's why I pulled that one out. These peptides help you get sagging skin. I saw a lady at the gym. I felt bad. I'm like, dude, I should tell her about the collagen peptides. But how does that conversation start? Be like, honey, I noticed you got a bunch of sagging skin. Right? Like, that's got douchehole written all over it. So there's no way that was going to happen. But made me think of it. I'm like, ooh, she could use some of my Amaze. That would help her tremendously. Maybe one of these days we'll find out a way to do that. But until then, Prime is incredible. Made sure I took some before. I was kind of feeling a little sluggish. I keep forgetting to do it before I go to the gym. It's just, I don't know, whatever. And then I was like, and I'm like, all right, let's do my Prime. And, dude, like I feel more energy. It's weird. It's not like caffeine energy. It's just, I don't know. I feel like fully present. Like, it's just cool. I don't know. Whatever the case is, this excellent product. Gives you more energy. It's good to use before you go to the gym. But I do it before a lot of the talking and stuff I do, especially if I'm going to be doing any sort of interviews or longer stuff. Tomorrow I've got Mike Lindell coming. I just want to make sure I've got that extra oomph, because believe it or not, once the camera's on, there's a bit of energy that I promote forward rather than my normal, like when you guys meet me in real life, you'll find I'm not like constantly trying to entertain the room, at least hopefully not. But usually I'm kind of, like I listen, I want to be a part of the, like I'm not the entertainer. I'm not there to be the guy. But there's a different energy when that's you, when you're the one at the microphone. So just, it helps to have that extra energy when you need to be the performer. And whatever that is, it could be any number of things, your job, everything else. Prime is a very powerful thing. Just expands. It's nitric oxide booster. Supposedly expands your vessels, your blood vessels, so kind of more flows through. It's good stuff. And then they've got STEM Active for your pets. Your pet going in through surgery, anything like that. It's got hip dysplasia. It's got arthritis. It's got joint stuff. A lot of that's just swelling and things that's because their bodies aren't happy. Give them more healing ability. Give them a chance to help enhance their stem cell abilities. And it's actually significantly cheaper than what we pay as humans. It's good stuff, too. Go to, of course, danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. It's danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. A lot of ways to join. You can join it as a customer, and that's great. You're helping the channel out significantly, and I appreciate that. You're unfortunately paying the highest price. If you want to join and actually get the best pricing, I actually do recommend becoming an executive member. The difference between a member and an executive member is a member pays $10 a month, basically, and an executive member doesn't. In fact, in a lot of cases, if you play your cards right as an executive member, you just have to make one purchase. That's the big getcha. Gotcha, right? The big gotcha is that, but you set up your own kind of enterprise, if you will, and you get the best pricing. You got to give some information, I guess, but you're setting up your own business. You can actually sell the product if you want, but if not, you're getting the best pricing. And at this point, little goes to me, if any. I don't even know. I think it's maybe 1% at that point, but I don't think much of anything. But you get the best pricing. You get a huge benefit because if you go in and look for whatever product it is that you want to buy, it might come with free shipping. It might be bundled with something else, and you spend, say, $230. And you pick up a couple things, and you're like, oh, that's cool. I get to try that, and I get free shipping forever. There's a bunch of really, really cool stuff. So whatever it is that you're interested, whatever one product you want, there's probably something in the list. It's a giant list. There's so many cool things in there and little sweet extras. Check it out. I mean, literally, you're getting the best pricing. You're going to get a sweet deal, and again, it's sort of a bummer for me, but it's helping you. And that's really what this is about. And I think of any of you guys that are content creators, you should come in under this because you'll get your own website. You get your own link like I do, like danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. Well, you'll get your own blah-blah-blah radio style or blah-blah-blah healthyhome.com. Unless you want to call yourself Radio Style, too. That'd be cool. We should get together and have a little Radio Style family. It'd be cool. We wouldn't even have to get married. danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. That's danradiostyle.healthyhome.com. Make healthy choices, healthy living, healthy life. You'll be surprised how things work out. Schools in China reportedly isolate students as COVID cases are surging. There's this weird form of COVID that's kind of flowing around, but we've managed to keep the mojo kind of low here in the States. It's happening. It's not like it's not here, but we're not making a big deal about it. The CDC's not ramping it up. We have, for the most part, I think, helped minimize this, but it's happening elsewhere. That's for sure. China's having a hell of a time right now. I don't know. I don't know if this is part of their transition or getting rid of the CCP faction within their country. I don't know what, but there's a lot of real legit info coming out that China's doing some. They're having all sorts of problems right now. So it's worse than we think. This, by the way, was a Russian idea. This whole Club K. Club K. Yeah, I was calling it the K Club or something. I don't know what I knew I was close. But there's different concepts of these shipping containers that can have anti-shipping missiles or anything missiles for that matter, right? So this was kind of the older school concept on how easy it would be to move these things around. It's a brilliant idea, frankly. What we've seen as kind of a modified rendition of that with the Ukrainian thing, right? There were flatbeds. They had basically boxes that had drones. There was multiple drones. Each drone had an ability to do, I don't want to say extraordinary damage, but very large damage. Damage enough to F up an airplane. Airplanes are fragile. They have an aluminum skin. If you hit them any place near a fuel tank, like on the wing, strong chance you're going to get an explosion. Even if it's empty, it's going to have vapor in there, which is going to blow up. So, yeah, they had a very successful attack. Blew up a bunch of crap, right? Didn't take Russia out of business. And much like, I don't know if Russia kind of knew about it. They keep calling it Russia's Pearl Harbor. We sort of knew that was coming. We sacrificed some stuff. We ended up building a bunch of new stuff because of it, right? So who knows, right? Who knows? Who knows what and why? We just, ours is not to wonder why. Ours is but to, do and die or whatever it is, right? Like, kind of bleak, but it's really what they want. Jack Pozo posted this. What happens when the Chinese drones rise up from their farmlands next to all the U.S. Air Force bases? Because, again, we have to leave our planes out on the tarmac. So if we decide to fuel them, if we decide to fly them, if we decide to put weapons on them, the satellites above can look and see what we are doing. What happens when they blow up a bunch of our craft, especially our B-52s? Good God, these things are going to be the only aircraft ever in the history of the world to fly for 100 years? Probably. New DeepSeek, this Chinese one. The new DeepSeek AI model faces criticisms for heightened censorship on the Chinese politics. This is the one that kept coming out, the open source code. It's so much better than the Americans and it's cheaper. It only cost $1 million. You guys spent $1 billion? We spent like $1 million. You guys stole our technology, you fucktards. Get out of here. Don't act like you did something cool. You didn't. You steal. That's what you guys do. You steal and reverse engineer. No offense. The Chinese are brilliant people. They used to be, anyways, back when you invented gunpowder and shit, but I don't know what's happened. But this new model is heavily censoring. So any place using it, which TikTok and a lot of these places, that's what it's built for a large extent. One, to learn Americans. Two, to block and control discussion and discourse by Americans. So Americans that are anti-communism, anti-China in any way, shape, or form get muddled, while those that are pissed off at the United States get exemplified, right? So, again, it is an interesting game that we play. Yes, they're getting a little bit of bad press for it. Chinese defense minister's absence at Shangri-La's dialogue sparks China leadership speculation. Like, we even sent people to this thing. Apparently they have this every year, I guess. Singapore. It's in Singapore from May 30th to June 1st. It's the Shangri-La Dialogue, the SLD. Asia's premier defense summit. Yeah, China's sent some low-level people. They didn't send their main dude. A lot of people are tripping on the fact that they didn't send their main dude. I thought I had that story. Nobody knows what's really going on. U.S. Secretary of Defense has gone to every meeting since its inception in 2002 to deliver a policy address and engage in bilateral and multilateral meetings. We send somebody, Secretary of Defense, legit person. Their person got pulled back last minute. Their Secretary of Defense equivalent, basically. So I'm not sure what's going on with China right now. China's in a weird place. They're acting strong. A lot of people that are pro-China, a lot of the websites, a lot of the news places that are pro-China are promoting this idea that China is going to destroy us, that China can make 300 times as many ships as we can, but they fail to realize that most of the ships that China makes are these small little ships compared to legitimate large ships that could literally sail across the ocean. I forget the type, whatever the type 9, whatever the frick their ships are called. They're good. They're really good. They're bigger ones. They don't have that many of those. They got a lot of these smaller ships that they're definitely going to use for the Taiwan stuff, but they wouldn't fare that well outside of anything else, right? And again, modern warfare has obviously changed significantly with drones and anti-drone technology, and obviously everyone's trying to hold back any sort of verification of what anti-drone technology they have. I mean, Russia's done a good job showing us a lot of things. They have some shoulder-fired drones that can take out drones in the air. We've seen a lot of video of Russian drones taking out drones. So there's This whole new array of technology, the AI war, is beginning. Like all the people are like, oh, is it going to happen? Yeah, it's happening. So this is going to kind of go down. We're hopefully going to put an end to the people that keep sending out the orders to do more and more of this. That's the key. Because when we get them to stop, then the problem stops. And that's what many of us are working towards, right? So Rep. Riley Moore, he's on a bill to halt visas to Chinese nationals. He says it's about national security. They need to vet these people better, that's for sure. Said there's 300,000 Chinese nationals. Again, very fond of the Chinese people. Love them. Not the Communist Party, though. Not the CCP, no. And a lot of people in China are pro-CCP. I've talked to a bunch, especially the ones that are here, and they feel a lot safer to say what's true. But most people aren't communists in China. Most people aren't. They just know if they raise their hand or voice, they won't show up tomorrow, and their families oftentimes are murdered too. I mean, it's pretty brutal. And if you are in the intelligence and stuff like that, they actually take you down generations. They'll kill you, they'll kill your wife, they'll kill your son, daughter, right? They'll kill your father. They'll kill 3 generations just to make sure anybody that knew you understands what's up. So we got a bit of a problem going on out there. Track, soccer, basketball, and more. The trans athlete scandal that rocked high school sports this year from New York to California. Well, Trump's not happy about this at all. He actually, I think, made a comment. Here it is. Biological male competing in California girls' state finals, winning big, despite the fact that they were warned by me not to do so. As Governor Gavin Newsom fully understands, large-scale fines will be imposed. They broke the law. They broke the rules. They aren't allowed to do that. So, yeah, California went ahead and did it anyway. Again, being a California, it's going to hurt me and my state a little bit, but it needs to. And so this is stupid. Transgender people are destroying the sports for girls. And what Gavin Newsom is doing is he's supporting that. And this is how we keep fudging them, or this is part of the movie. That's what a lot of people say. That's literally like, it's the movie. They're doing it on purpose. And I'm like, there's part of me that just has a hard time that everybody's doing this consciously. Like, I think a lot of people are just doing it subconsciously, but a lot of us are playing our roles perfectly, just the way we do, right? Just being ourselves. We're just doing it and being doucheholes. Like, I feel like I pull asshole off every once in a while really well, you know? So I wonder if a lot of it's that too, but whatever the case is, however it's being manipulated, if at all, we are we are going through a transition, and this portrayal is playing a part, like with the fact that all these people literally are fighting for the wrong side of things. Transgenders destroying women's sports, walking around with penises inside of women's locker rooms. Like, this is outrageous. Who cares what you feel like? And I think a lot of the problem's always been just people are afraid to say anything. Oh no, someone might get mad at me. And that's the problem. And so many people have stuck their heads in the ground or the sand like an ostrich, right? And here we are today. AAG Harmeet Dillon says today at work, put 1,600 plus California schools on blast for violating equal protection in girls' sports. The day is still young. We're fighting the fight, and we are not going to stop. And I'm proud to be in a state fighting against its own state. Texas, you guys beware too. You guys got some crazy stuff going on in your state right now. And I'm going to point that out in a slide coming up here in a little bit, that the different spin on it, if you will. Louisiana House bill passes Louisiana House passes a bill to ban chemtrails, awaiting the Senate review. I think Florida's done this as well. Again, I love this idea. But how they stop them, where did the flight emanate from? Is the flight like anything other than a very specific aircraft that should be there? I mean, if you guys see them flying, try to get a time and date stamp where you're at if you can, and then maybe go to that flight app, and you most likely will be able to see what aircraft it was flying over you, and if it was possibly expected, or a regular commercial aircraft. Who knows? That's going to be the big question, I think. I mean, again, I've suggested this. People kind of beat me up for it, but I still think it's true. I don't really care if people disagree with me. I think they've actually put stuff in the fuel that makes it just significantly easier to make chemtrails. You control it by altitude more than anything, and they can do that through air traffic control. They can set them on very specific headings, and so they can very easily make lines. They have multiple flights to similar places, so it's very easy to set them out. You're going to go out a mile, and then I'm going to have you hit heading such and such. You're going to go out 1.2 miles or 1.5 miles and then take heading such and such. Same heading, and so it creates parallel lines. It's easy to do. And they might do it because you don't want people flying in each other's wake. Like, you can just make up rules. It doesn't matter. And they just tell air traffic controllers this is how you traffic flights. And the altitudes being an efficient thing. And, and there's a guy that did studies on this. I've actually seen the work. I've seen it happen. You can see a regular jet not make contrails, and you can see it reach a certain altitude, and suddenly contrails start going further to the point where they would look like a chemtrail. And I'm saying the difference is chemtrails don't disappear, and they become clouds, and we've seen that, and they disperse out. I don't know. I've seen the pictures of like older aircraft with big, like using gas, like some crazy, like moose they're flying off the back of it, right? But I think they've gotten smarter about how they do it. That's all. I think they've metamorphosized the technique. And they just figured out ways to put this shit into the fuel. And then they get planes to fly all over. And then we're still not sure what is the reason for chemtrails, right? Could be biologic. There might be times where they do that. We keep hearing that it might be to protect us from stuff, or it puts some sort of, metals in the air so we can do some sort of golden dome thing. Who knows? Again, right? Dozens of theories. We don't even know. We have no friggin' idea, but we're outlawing it. We don't even know who's controlling it, who's behind it. This is the slide I was talking about, but these are the cities gaining and losing the most corporate headquarters. Dallas is gaining 100, Austin gaining 81, Nashville good, Phoenix good, Houston also on the list. California is big time on the list. Of course, so is New York and Chicago. Okay, they're all negative in a big way. San Francisco, super negative. Greater Los Angeles area, very negative. And San Diego, negative. These people, by the way, these negative job losses, by the way, are Californians that are ending up in Houston, Phoenix, Nashville, Austin, Dallas. Be on the lookout. Understand, all these liberal people are moving to your areas and causing social change. And they're legal voters and stuff, causing social changes in your communities because we're flooding a bunch of liberals into non-liberal areas. It's the same thing as kind of flooding people from a different country. It's just that's more extreme in how it affects the local populations. So be on the lookout if you're in those cities. GOP beats down key budget office over tax plan projections. They're using this, again, this goes back to that congressional budget, official budget, the CBO, the Congressional Budget Office is what I wanted to say. And the way they're scoring this is just, there's a lot of question behind it. This is all, they're bringing a bunch of attention to it. It's not worth breaking it all down. I mean, it's just, this is something that's, Trump even talks about it. It's controlled by the deep state. It says Dems, so whatever. We'll use that term too. But the Republicans listen to it, so call it what you want. The Boeing 737 MAX production, they topped 38 jets per month for the first time in years, which, good on you. I hope, swear to God, you guys finally fixed all the problems that have happened. It seems like they have for the most part. It's interesting how Boeing was getting beat up on very, very badly. And maybe that was because of stuff that we knew was moving in their direction. I still wonder why they were beating up on them. Were they trying to get them back in line, which would make sense? And certainly we're on the wrong track. Maybe we got them under control again. I don't know. I'm very curious to see if they surprise us with that 747 sooner than later, though. I know it's supposed to take until much later, and we got that Qatari jet that they gave to us for the meantime, which just seems strange. But whatever. Maybe I don't know, maybe it's a brand new jet and Boeing's trying to make a deal. Who knows, right? That could have been done on a lot of different ways. Like Boeing could have said, "Hey, can you just give it to the United States for a little? We're going to build you a bunch. We got the sweet deal, but we need to sweeten the deal a little somehow for everybody." And then maybe they kept it quiet because that would have looked bad, right? But it was a gift from Qatar. It was baked into the deal that they basically bought, I don't know, what was a redonkulous amount of planes from Boeing. So they threw in a freebie. See, that makes more sense than anything. And then Trump stays separated from it. We get our airplane at least sort of early, and then we can work out the problem with the thing that's actually supposed to show up. U.S. labor market got jolted by some good numbers, surprisingly good numbers for that matter. A lot of job openings. So that would imply, one, there's people hopefully to fill them, but that we're moving in the right direction. There's a confidence kind of building, which is a great thing. We got the U.S. pushing countries for best offer by Wednesday. Today's Tuesday. Right now, 6-3 right now, which is a great number. By the way, at one point, after I was saying something crazy earlier, and then I went into one of my videos, and I looked at the clock, and it was like 12:12, and I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm right where I'm supposed to be. But yeah, the best offer tomorrow. That's probably going to affect stock markets, but right now they're behaving, which is strange. Global alarm rises, though, as China's critical mineral export ban takes hold. They're no longer going to give these critical minerals to anybody. Europe, us, anybody that's not playing nicely as far as they're concerned. That's going to be interesting, but the stock market doesn't show any signs of that, does it? No. It's funny as hell. Did gold actually close above 34 yesterday? Looks like it. Yeah, it did. Way above. Look at that. That's pretty tight. So, whatever. Things are very strong in the big picture. Stocks are moving up for the moment. We know we can't trust what's going on because there's all sorts of news that's coming. Trump's doing his part to make a difference, but we are moving through a transition. One of the best ways to protect wealth, and I'm talking about like an IRA, a 401k, right? You've been putting money into this thing for years, hopefully getting matched by your employer, right, for years. You got this big, giant mound of wealth. Best way to protect that? Precious metals with gold and silver, right? Pirates did it. Jewels too, but we don't have jewels in this particular one. But pirates always had their treasure chests. Their treasure chest is how they kept their booty. They didn't run around with a little cash or stupid things like that. They ran around with gold and silver. They matey, right? Arr, right? Even Eye Patch McCain would approve of this message. DRSlikesgold.com, DRSlikesgold.com. If you're in a 401k or an IRA, I would highly suggest, this is my opinion, to diversify out into precious metals. Precious metals have grown their values tremendously as an asset. They're up over 35%. They're up way over other stuff just over the last year. And then overall, they've almost doubled in the past 3 years. These assets are doing incredibly well, and there's expectations that they're going to continue to as the craziness happens with the dollar, being able to blame the Fed. There's a lot of things that have to play out in some way, shape, or form. That has to be somewhat traumatic. Otherwise, it won't be a big enough deal to get enough people to realize we got to get out of that system. Before we hit that red line, you don't want to be in the stock market. I'm suggesting I would diversify. At least half is what they say, not to go further than that. I don't know, personally, I'm barely invested in the stock market. It's very specific stuff that I'm invested in. And I do it because it's stuff I believe in. And I don't particularly care about making money on it as much as I do about being on the ground level when, 10 years from now, it's like the replacement for YouTube. Like I talk about Rumble a lot. I think it's going to be a big player at some point. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Put in your 4 data points. You're going to possibly qualify for this free half-ounce Ronald Reagan coin. Super cool. You're going to get your wealth protection kit. Extra cool. You're going to get a free book from Donald Trump. Amazingly cool. Up to 10% of the face value of your 401k or IRA, they'll offer you 10%, up to 10% free silver. Yeah, up to the face value. I think the magic number is like 99,000 or 100,000. Then you get the full 10% from that point and above. And they'll just give you, so if you get $100,000, you're going to get $10,000 in free silver on top of that. Yeah, it's kind of powerful how it plays out. So go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Let the best company out there help you transition through this. There are many steps. There are many places along the way where things happen. And it's a very complex process. You want somebody that's excellent at it, that has excellent customer service, which they do. They got the highest price buyback guarantee, getting a 10% up to free silver. You're getting a lot of incredible experience and expertise from Goldco to do this. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Get out of that system. while you can. They're certainly not wanting you to do that, that's for sure. No deductions to Social Security to offset defaulted student loans. Essentially, if you're a fixed income individual and you have a student loan because you were trying to do something cool like that, they're not going to pull that money from your Social Security. That would be pretty jacked up if they did. Hakeem Jeffries lies on Medicaid, Trump's economy, and he's been debunked. I guess he was talking about a bunch of the lies that everybody's pushing right now, how all these people aren't going to get any more coverage, which is true. But they keep referring to the people that are illegal immigrants that should not be receiving these funds. And so when they talk about people that aren't going to get it anymore, they should be more specific about which kind of people they're referring to, which they don't. So he is lying technically, but he's choosing his words carefully from a legal standpoint. Trump truthed this out. So many false statements are being made about the one big, beautiful bill. But what nobody understands is that it's the single biggest spending cut in history by far. But there will be no cuts to Social Security, Medicare, or Medicaid. In fact, they will be saved from the incompetence of the Democrats. The Democrats, who have totally lost their confidence and their way, are saying whatever comes to mind, anything to win. They suffered the greatest humiliation in the history of politics, and they're desperate to get back on their game plan. But they won't be able to do this because their policies are so bad. In fact, they would lead to the destruction of our country, and almost did. The only cutting will be for waste, fraud, and abuse, something that should have been done by the incompetent radical left Democrats for the last 4 years, but wasn't. Yeah. He's kind of being a little harsh, kind of like they were about us MAGA people a little bit, right, towards Democrats. I think he's referring more towards the people in the Congress, but still, and obviously the administration. Elon Musk posted this. This is going to cause a lot of people consternation, without a doubt. Whatever. I am sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it. Wow. 3.1 million views, right? Not exactly. He's got 179,000 likes, right? So, doing something good. Judge dismisses California lawsuit over Trump tariffs, citing jurisdiction issue, but does open it up for them to be able to appeal. Who cares? It's fine. California wouldn't be able to control tariffs, whether we have tariffs or not. That's a federal thing. Trump administration asked the SCOTUS to allow it to move forward with plans to slash federal workforce. Request is the 18th emergency appeal Trump administration lawyers have submitted to the Supreme Court since he took office. So, yeah, obviously he's having some issues being fought. We'll see what they ultimately choose to do. Supreme Court's going to hear Judicial Watch challenge tied to the illegal ballot counting that's been going on. This is pretty cool. Check this out.
Judicial Watch is taking its election integrity fight to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court just agreed to hear Judicial Watch's appeal for a case filed on behalf of Congressman Mike Bost and two presidential electors, challenging an Illinois law extending Election Day for 14 days beyond the date established by federal law. The lower courts had previously denied that Congressman Bost and the electors had standing to challenge Illinois' practice of counting ballots received for up to 2 weeks after Election Day. In the lawsuit, Judicial Watch argues, despite Congress's clear statement regarding a single national election day, Illinois has expanded Election Day by extending by 14 days the date for receipt and counting of vote-by-mail ballots. Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton had this to say about the upcoming Supreme Court action. The Supreme Court's decision to hear this case is a critical opportunity to uphold federal law, protect voter rights, and ensure election integrity. Illinois' 14-day extension of Election Day thwarts federal law, violates the civil rights of voters, and invites fraud. Last year, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals agreed with Judicial Watch that it was unlawful for Mississippi to count ballots that arrived after Election Day. Visit judicialwatch.org to learn more.
Yeah, so this is another states like California, obviously, is another one that does crazy stuff, and praying that some of this stuff goes through and that we can hopefully get some help here. Judicialwatch.org for all you guys that want to help Tom Fitton. That's a great place to go, and certainly think about donations. Nonpartisan government watchdog has filed an ethics complaint against Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser on Tuesday morning. A complaint has been filed. Let's see. Oh, yeah, she got a free trip, some high-profile trip out to Doha, Qatar for the 2023 United Nations Climate Change Conference. Her and I think like four additional people, four staff members, cost about $61,930 to fly over there. The five of them, or probably their families as well. $61,000 that was given as a gift that was never, ever, ever filed anywhere. Never, anywhere. Trump writes legal expenses on a thing that supposedly was used for God knows what by a lawyer he paid it to. But these guys, they seem to be able to just hide anything they want. That's weird. Dutch government has collapsed over migration. I don't know. They have some weird. Geert Wilders, the leader of the Populist Freedom Party, he withdrew his party from the governing coalition in the Netherlands, collapsing the government. I don't know. I guess they're going to have another vote or something. All these parliamentary governments are so friggin' strange. It's like, that's it. Government collapsed. And they walk away. I was like, all right, what happens now? We're going to have an election in like 6 months. 6 fucking months. No government for 6 months? Yep. I don't know. I mean, I assume they've got some form of government in some way, shape, or form, but whatever. Crazy shit. I have a hard enough time understanding my own government, but it makes a heck lot more sense, right? The people we keep electing don't, but Geert, he strikes me as a Geert, right? When you look at that dude, you're like, you want a Geert. He is so Geert. Stop being Geert, man. You're so Geerty. All said, we got Germans still considering the possibility of banning the AfD party, which is like they're calling it the super conservative party, but essentially the center-right party. Mostly right party, but center-right. Reasonable people, frankly. They want to ban them, because that's what you do to your opposition. That's what Biden was trying to do with Trump, right? This Democrat senator thinks Trump is right on the Middle East, talking about John Fetterman, saying that Trump's been handling the Middle East properly. Fetterman's been very pro-Israel, and that has caused a big problem with his party, which is always a lot of fun. U.S. rejects any uranium enrichment by Iran. Iran's like, there's no way we're not going to have any enrichment. That's impossible. And U.S. is like, you will have zero enrichment. Donald Trump finally came in, said the auto pen should have stopped Iran a long time ago from enriching. Under our potential agreement, we will not allow any enrichment of uranium. All capital letters, very loud. Very loud. Colorado terror attack suspect Mohammed Sabri Solomon praised radical Islamist group Muslim Brotherhood on social media. Also said a whole bunch of racist stuff during his rant. I'm not going to play it because it's like he says it only like a couple times and it's kind of hard to hear it because something's talking over him or whatever. But yeah, he was spouting off some stuff. Dude obviously didn't get a lot of sun, that's for sure. But it's Colorado. I mean, obviously nobody does up there. And you got that no atmosphere. He probably got crazy coming from Egypt, right? Whatever the case was. Very bad stuff. Very sad that people died. Ukraine strikes the Kerch Bridge in Crimea with underwater explosives. They done blowed it up. Pretty big, in fact. I'll play it here for you. Boom. Apparently it jacked the bridge. I don't know if it came down or whatever. Russia basically said, the bridge shut down for a little while, and then we got it back up. So I don't know. They blew up those white things, which they're there for a reason, one would imply, one would assume. But yeah, those white things matter. It's where they keep Shamu or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what the hell is going on with those things. The pylons are over here for the bridge itself. They do something. I'm sure there's somehow there's people out there like, Dan, you idiot. What are you, not a bridge engineer? No, I'm not. I don't even play one on TV. Oh, here was a picture of Russia taking out a drone, a boat drone of Ukraine. I mean, Ukraine just smoked the shit out of them, so Russia's trying to put out their own version of propaganda. Now, I'm going to be honest. I'm not a huge heavy metal fan in general, like American heavy metal, European heavy metal, whatever. But Russia's heavy metal, it's got, I don't know, in my opinion, they get it. They're feeling the same vibe. That's like some sort of weird white rage or rage music. It's typically white people that play that kind of music, but whatever. Not that that's wrong. Just it seems to be I think our version of soul, almost to a degree, right? Soul's typically more of a black thing. White's typically more we got that. We don't really have soul per se. Can't dance, that's for damn sure. Russia pipeline gas supply to Europe rose in May, so they're still making money, pushing stuff around. Ukrainian attacks, they trigger a power outage in Russia. Ukraine is... They're doing some pretty heavy hitting right now. It's very interesting. What's also interesting is they're still trying to supposedly come to a peace deal, and we are having these extraordinarily successful attacks right before this or while this is happening. Like, obviously, the deep state doesn't want anything to do with peace. They can't. That destroys everything for them. And I don't know. There's this part of me that's like, I guess the wars can end when they've finally accomplished what they were there to accomplish, right? When he denazified. So maybe we haven't gotten there yet. I'm kind of still waiting to see where we go on this. I hear experts on both sides say, oh, dude. And it's like then the other side says just the opposite. So it's like, I'm just scratching my head going, so would it be safer to say nobody knows what the F's going on? They'd be like, that's probably closer to true. Right? Like, so nobody knows what the hell's going on. Except maybe Zelensky, Putin, and Trump. I think the deep state's a factor in there, and they don't want this to end. Zelensky calls Russian negotiators idiots. Pretty sure that's a good way to keep the talks going in a positive direction. You guys are a bunch of fuckfaces. Oh, let's talk. You just called me a fuckface. Well, I mean, you are. Have you seen your face? Did you look at your face in the mirror this morning? Of course you're a fuckface. Oh my God, look at that thing. Doesn't go over well, by the way. I've tried. Ukraine stinks of authoritarianism. Kiev Mayor Klitschko is hitting out at his own president. This is like when Eric Adams decided to get a little pissy with Joe Biden, and then suddenly Joe Biden's not going to be happy. I wonder if Zelensky's going to actually attack the mayor or bust him. But the mayor's tired of having his city blown up. You know, one could imagine. Hey, there's less city for me to mayor over. You keep having buildings destroyed. It makes my people unhappy. Can we please stop? And he's like, no, we must fight forever. You know how much money I'm making? And it's really what it comes down to. Let's be honest. Russian retaliation inevitable, says Medvedev. The bigger attack is supposedly coming. Extraordinarily curious what that might be. I don't think it'll be nuclear, though I think that card will be played. I think a lot of people are going to say... it was funny, I saw some source, and I don't even know if I'm going to remember the two things they said. There's two choices that are going to happen. Either Russia's going to annihilate with nuclear weapons, or Russia's going to invade. And it's like, or Russia will do something totally different than either of those things. That's stupid. Like, why would Russia do those two things? It wouldn't make any sense. Russia's not going to use nukes. But Russia will hit them where it counts in a way that will matter. Hopefully, again, I'm. It's not that I'm pro-Russia, but I'm certainly not anti-Russia, right? Like, I'm definitely not pro-Ukraine. I'm not anti-Ukraine. I'm pro people not dying anymore. I love Russian people. I love Ukrainian people. I've actually worked with both groups. I mean, it wasn't that like there was like 1,000. Well, more Russian people I've worked with than Ukrainians, but I've worked with like a couple Ukrainians and probably 5 Russians, right? There you go. But they were great people. And I don't wish ill on anybody. And I think we all need to stop fighting. I think it's stupid that we can't not kill each other. Like, I just think that's just the most absurd thing. Like, humans are like, oh, we're so smart. It's like, no, you're not. You guys are idiots. Like, you want to kill each other. You don't get it. It just makes no sense. No reason to. Somebody, like, if you got to, pounce on someone and put them in lock thing, like, oh, sure, lock them up. But unless they're attacking you, there's no reason to kill people. Yeah. Anyway, I know, simple, black and white, just like the thing I am so critical of. So Russia's going to do what Russia's going to do. Britain prepares for war. Just don't ask about the cost. I was wondering, and I think, and this is more just the British people out there. I don't necessarily want to hear what you think per se, but I almost wonder if this is the way they're going to try to steal a bunch of money or get you guys to pay higher taxes or something weird, and call it this war fund, because many of you, but I think you guys are waning, so I hope this will change that. I think this will be a good catalyst. But I wonder if this is their way of trying to finagle a bunch of extra money out of you guys, so they can keep robbing you guys of anything and continue their shenanigans, because U.S. aid stopped and all this other stuff has stopped. So now they're talking about building up 5 ammunition areas, and they're going to start manufacturing more weapons and start preparing for war. And a lot of what this has to do with, too, potentially or likely, is the discussions Trump's had, where like, you guys got to be paying more money into NATO, and we're not really going to keep funding all these wars. We're like, this is stupid. This is stupid for the United States to be doing this. This does not matter to us. You guys won't let it end, and it makes no sense. This makes no sense. There's 0 sense for continuing the war with Ukraine. There's no accomplishment other than having a proxy war against Russia and trying to destroy Russia. Why? Because they invaded into a country, okay? The country that we actually did a coup to that country, the same country that like used to like Russia, that we changed that country, right? Like, we've messed with them. This is 100% us. And then we moved NATO closer and closer and closer to them. We broke that violation. We violated that treaty multiple times. Trump was the only president not to since the treaty's inception. Want to remind you guys, fun, I'm going to be talking to Mike Lindell tomorrow, which is always exciting. 2, My Pillows, awesome. I did find out I'm going to be able to get a little bit of My Pillow swag. I specifically asked for a few of these roll and goes. So for you guys showing up at the live show July 4th, and hopefully you guys can still make it out there in the Houston area. But I'm going to have some of these to give away. I'm going to have a couple little prizes to give away. I've got to do like raffle or something. I'm going to figure out something. I got to talk to my good friend Arlene, see if we can powwow on some of this stuff. But the roll and go, I'm going to get a few of those to give away. And maybe some other crap. I don't know if they're going to give me some other stuff, and see what I can fit in my suitcase or suitcases. We'll try. All said, it's going to be an interesting experience, and I'm looking forward to coming out and seeing you guys. But My Pillow's got some great deals. One, you can get this roll and go yourself, and this $100 digital coupons, which I'm about to receive. So I'm going to be very curious what these actually are. I actually got some pillows for my girlfriend. She's going to be heading to the Philippines, and she needed to have some pillows with her. And the way they wrap them up, they ship really, really well, like really, really well. So you're getting an awesome pillow, and it's easy to ship when she goes to the Philippines. So I ordered them, and I was literally $4 short of the $100 to get the coupes. And I was like, damn it. So what I bought, I went down here. Oh, they had them. They had socks. I'm trying out some of their socks, man. They got socks. Anything they make with cotton's incredible. So I'll be stoked. They got the Giza sheets, $49.98. Any size. They got a bunch of these for a box store. You're going to get the benefit. The Giza's like the high thread count, good stuff, very good stuff. Any size, any color, go for it. They've got the percale sheets, kind of, I don't know, step down in sheet quality, whatever, but they're cheap. They're good for kids' rooms. They're good for the spare bedrooms. They're good, just period, in general. $29.98, any size, any color. Same good, great stuff. Beach towels, regular towels, they make the best towels. Dish towels, they make them all. Dish towels start at $9.99. They're incredible. It's like a 4-pack or a 3-pack or something. They're really, really nice towels. And they're actually, for dish towels, they're actually kind of large. They're bigger than the regular dish towels that I typically used in the past. Not that I was a dish towel expert. I feel like I've become more of one, but not quite there yet. I am still just a Padawan. Again, they've got all sorts of different pillows. They got the My Pillow. They got the 2.0 somewhere that they don't show anymore because I keep bitching about it. We got this bitchin' one, the Classic Collection. Boom, boom. Check it out here. $17.98, best pillow you're ever going to use. You will love that thing. And they got pet blankets and pet beds. Both are incredible. Dog beds, $39.98. Can't go wrong there. And $34.99. You got that older dog. You got that newer couch. The two don't get together very well, do they? Here's what you do. You throw on a pet blanket. You tell the dog that's their new little bed place, or you put it where they always lie. And they're going to wag their tails and get on it, and they're going to be they're going to be like, I can't believe you got me like a special place. Thank you. They will be stoked. And they will never know. They will never be the wiser that you're just doing it to keep their eye boogers off the couch. It's powerful stuff. Go to mypillow.com/OTF, mypillow.com/OTF. Check out the Rev 7 too. If you haven't already, you can get a free 3-pack sent your way. Pay shipping. But you can try them out. They're super good. Like 0 calories, like 10 milligrams of salt. They're like redonkulous. And they actually enhance your energy in a very trippy, cool way. Trippy because it's pronounced. It's weirder than caffeine. It's energy. It's kind of like my prime. Like it's just energy. It's just, I don't know. I'm used to caffeine. You drink a thing and you kind of get this rush a little bit, but you kind of feel jittery. You got a little, like, I don't know. It feels like caffeine. This is, I don't know. It's just like energy. Like you're just like, dang, let's go run around the neighborhood some right now. That'd be fun. Okay. It's just like crazy. It's delicious too. They're very strong flavors and no sugar. Doesn't mess up with ketosis in any way, shape, or form. Check it out. Go to mypillow.com/OTF. mypillow.com/OTF. Get the best night of sleep you have ever had. And you likely will. Leaked test confirms the boxer who won the gold medal competing against women at the Paris Olympics is indeed a man, baby. Yeah, that's a man. He beat up a woman to win the thing. And so, yeah, we got more of that going on. Gotta love it. Russia has been banned from ice hockey in the 2026 Olympics. The IOC has ruled to extend sanctions imposed on Russia and Belarusian teams. I hope we can get out of the stupid war, and I hope this is rescinded. I think it's just sad. It's stupid. But it allows the rest of the world to win these competitions, not having Russia there. It's pretty much going to go to a Canadian now, right? Because that's pretty much the next best. Russians are probably the best hockey players in the world. Canadians would say, hey, mostly so, yeah, sure. They're brutally good. They're brutally strong, but they're much like Canada, except Canada, most people are in the southern part of Canada where it's warm. Russia, they still got people that live up in Siberia and shit where it's not warm, ever. And then they just play hockey just so they can deal with how angry they are at life or something. I don't know what they do. A Romanian national pleaded guilty on Monday to charges related to his role in swatting. He was one of the people, or the person, I'm not sure, that was involved in a lot of the swatting accords to political people, to famous people, a number of different people. He was going by aliases of Plank, Jonah, and Cypher. This 26-year-old Thomas Shazbo took part in this years-long conspiracy to place bogus 911 calls or 911 calls claiming emergencies were taking place at homes of top government officials, making bomb threats, the whole 9 yards. They busted him. So that's good. I don't know what happens to him, but hopefully he doesn't get out of jail anytime soon. A 2-year-old boy is swept away on a luggage conveyor belt at Newark Airport in a latest terror at the beleaguered travel hub. I just thought this story was not kind of funny, but kind of funny. I mean, the kid's okay. Spoiler alert. But what's effed up about this is the way that, first off, the headline implies somehow Newark Airport is responsible. Newark Airport saved the child's life. Newark's airport did nothing wrong. Newark's airport was, involved with a discussion with a customer who had a child, and she stopped paying attention to her child. Her child went and walked onto a conveyor belt. That conveyor belt took that child down a slide, and then that child was on its way towards an X-ray scanner. They figured out what happened. People got down there quickly and supposedly grabbed him before he went into the X-ray scanner. I pray that's actually true. If that child went through the X-ray scanner, that would be kind of not good for you. I'm sure the scan is pretty heavy and not quite like what you would get at the dentist office, and it would hit your entire body. It would give you a lot of rads at one time. It probably wouldn't kill you, but it would probably put you at risk of, don't get x-rays unless you absolutely have to. Tulsa Mayor Monroe Nichols on Sunday unveiled a $105 million reparations plan for the descendants of the Tulsa Race Massacre. It's kind of an interesting version of the concept of reparations. This was reasonably recent. People would technically still be alive that would be descendants of this time. This was a deadly attack, apparently, in 1921 by a white mob on the Oklahoma City Greenwood section, apparently a thriving black neighborhood. This is really horrible if this happened. I mean, I assume it happened. I don't mean if, but Apparently it happened, and it's just so disgusting. It's like painful to, like that this occurred. But May 31st to June 1st, 1921, hundreds of people were killed and left homes and businesses destroyed. Literally killed hundreds of people. Nichols, who became Tulsa's first black mayor in 2024, announced the Greenwood Trust, a $105 million charitable initiative, on the first official Tulsa Race Massacre Observance Day. That's, wow, that's really messed up. It's kind of like the one time I was in Springfield, Missouri, and I was asking somebody about what made Springfield, what's their thing that makes them cool? Like, what's their claim to fame? And it was actually a really bad, sort of like a lynching that happened, and they're like, we're trying to change it. And I think there was something that either Trump signed or somebody signed. I actually think it was an executive order by the governor or something weird, basically changing that. But yeah, they had a fucked up history. That's not cool. It was a quaint town. I actually stayed in one of the most weirdest, awesomest hotels ever. Like, it was such a bitchin' experience. It was just, yeah, and it worked out more on accident and just worked out like God planted me in that building, and I was supposed to be there, and it was just, it was an old Mason building that was turned into a hotel very recently, but they still had the checkerboard floors. It was very cool, and they had a hotel or a restaurant on the roof. It was just bitching, and that was like when I was out there for one of Mike Lindell's election scandal thingies, right? And that's where I stayed. It was in walking distance of the place, and it was just epic. And it was the second time I went out there. It was the first time I stayed at that place, and it was just cool. You're sitting almost on top of the city, and that was where I was asking questions and found out odd stories. But Harvard is moving to unfreeze its $2.5 billion in federal funding. They're doing this in an interesting way. They're asking for a summary judgment, which means the judge would make a decision without a full trial. I assume that both sides still get to make arguments and stuff, I hope. But this does sound like Harvard's trying to do some shenanigans to get that pushed forward faster than they maybe should. And finally, more than 200 California bar exam takers moved from fail to pass after a new scoring adjustment. So it has become even easier to become a lawyer here in California. Good news, bad news, don't know. But the overall pass-fail rate, the pass rate went from 56% to 63%. They managed to get 7% higher numbers because you know what they did? They lowered the requirements. They made it easier. Again, lawyers are going to be a thing that AI is going to, in a lot of ways, replace. Hopefully it gets better, because right now AI has made up a lot of case law, which is kind of funny. But needless to say, changes are happening. Changes are happening quickly, my good friends. Again, like I said, July 4th, we got that Houston trip. If you want to be a part of it, and can be, for that matter, we're going to be doing a live music show, 4 to 6 p.m. local time, Central Time. It should be a lot of fun. The place is called Two-A-Days. It's on Pearland Avenue, Parkway, whatever. It's right out there on the outskirts kind of Houston. I'm going to be there a little bit early. Certainly a chance to meet and greet. I've got some really wonderful friends that are going to be kind of going out and helping and have my back during this event. And we're going to have kind of a night to be able to have a barbecue together and just really get to know each other. And I think that's going to be fantastic. So this whole journey is going to be loads of fun. If you can be a part of it, please email onthefringearoundthenation@gmail.com. That's onthefringearoundthenation@gmail.com. Just let them know roughly how many of you are coming. We just want to make sure we stay within the head count limit that we can handle. We've got some variations that we can do, and we're not quite even close to nailing that number, but we've got quite a few people that are planning on showing up. I've already got music pulled. It's going to be a mixture of really, really just fun, cool, popular music and some music that's very appropriate for like our country, right? Some great country stuff, like Born Free by Kid Rock is definitely one of the songs, not to ruin it, but got a lot of great stuff that's kind of along those lines. McDonald, I think it's his name, right? He got a couple of his songs, I believe, that are going to be in there, some stuff he's done with other people. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully you'll be a part of it. But again, we got some fun swag to give out too. All said, trying our best to be with all of you guys, and this is a good centralized place to give it a go. Might try Florida one of these days too. We'll see when we get out there. But all said, a lot happening. Love you guys. It's really all about working together and making sure we all get across the finish line together. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.